Over the rules in the locker room already. Just gonna go over the big ones again. Stay off the top, back of the head, neck, and spine. Keep your fingers out of the cage. Understand? Touch muscle. Have to be fight.
A strawweight champion will be crowned. Mizuki, fighting out of Japan, meeting the undefeated Brazilian Verna Jandiroba. Union Event Center, Salt Lake City, Utah, our main event of Invicta FC 28. TJ DeSantis, Julie Kedzie, touch of gloves, we are underway.
They're both such incredibly fast fighters that it's going to be interesting to see who kind of gets that angle first. You know, like I said in the intro, Mizuki is a lot like a bee, TJ. You know, she swarms and she stings people and then moves back out. And Jandiroba, initiation, like hitting with power after those initiative attacks, I should say, is really the key to her victory, I think, in these exchanges.
We've seen plenty of undefeated Brazilians come into Invicta FC, and you know, I think of names like Livia Souza, Erica Tiburcio were able to come in and capture titles in their first fights in Invicta FC. And while this is the second fight of Verna Jandiroba, she has really put herself in prime placement to pick up a title here. And now she puts herself in prime real estate on the floor, getting on top of Mizuki after a big takedown.
Yeah, very strong takedown. Really a show of kind of the size advantage, the strength advantage she has. And she's actually in a position, or she was in a position, to get a head and arm choke. But Mizuki very wisely got her wrapped up in that guard right away.
Mizuki very dangerous on the feet and on the floor, and to Mizuki's credit, she has skills both in top position and off of her back, and nice defensive posturing there for Mizuki to get out of that precarious situation and get back to full guard.
And you can see Jandiroba is starting to kind of crawl up there, start to get to a position where she can strike hard from. Mizuki's got her right arm overhooked and is probably trying to work, you know, a way up to get either to an armbar or an escape from there.
See some elbows off of her back from Mizuki, trying to make Jandiroba uncomfortable. Guard comes high here for the Japanese fighter. Familiar placement for Verna Jandiroba. She was able to get on top of Amy Montenegro quickly, and when she was offensive in that fight, it was truly dominant. Montenegro had nothing for her. Mizuki, a bit different of a fighter than Amy Montenegro, but right now she's forced to fight the game of the Brazilian.
Yeah, and that's not necessarily a game that she wants to be. I mean, being on the bottom, she's a very active fighter, Mizuki, but she has these fits and spurts of motion that work better for her on her feet or on top position. Being on the bottom, she really has to establish a base to get away from, to actually push on the body of her opponent to get up. You can see in this scramble, she's looking for ways to either tie up or get a leg out, get a sweep in, but Jandiroba is very strong right here.
Mizuki keeping her in the guard, though. Jandiroba looked to pass, but Mizuki made the proper adjustments to keep control of her. Nice short elbow strikes by the Brazilian.
You can see Mizuki moving her hips to the side to open up that 90-degree angle where she can attack that armbar with. She's wrapping her leg under the leg of the Brazilian, and unfortunately that gets her a little bit trapped right there. She's able to withdraw, I'm sorry, not her leg, her arm. She's able to withdraw, but you know, still it does put her at a disadvantage to get some of those cracks on the right side of her body. You can see Jandiroba's wrapped up under her thigh and trying to crawl up the body that way by pushing down on the hip, pulling up, pushing down on the hip, pulling down.
Well, fun fact on Twitter from one of our viewers, Mizuki started her pro career in 2010 when she was just 16 years old. And that's what I say about this fight being almost overdue, but unexpected at the same time for the 23-year-old.
Yeah, we saw this nice little scramble where Mizuki was actually in a knee bar sweep position. Jandiroba read it, pulled out a little bit, and Mizuki's wrapped back up in that guard.
See some blood there in the face of Verna Jandiroba. Looks like a cut on the right side of her nose. Mizuki has been active with some elbows off of her back here.
She has such furious, tiny little strikes that are just so lethal. She does a nice job of cupping under the armpit sometimes of her opponents too, and then pulling up and throwing the elbow from there.
Jandiroba trying to clear the legs once again. Mizuki able to maintain a guard. Jandiroba now stands. Big hammer fist comes down. Half butterfly here for Mizuki.
And you see Mizuki she needs to stay connected to her opponent to be able to re-guard, like that stickiness I was telling you before. She needs to stick to her opponent in many positions. Oh, again, rolling around for that leg instead of trying to get to her feet. Interesting. But she also has to be able to create the space to get to her feet. But I don't think Mizuki wants to be on her feet. I think she actually wants to play off her back right here.
Nice up kick, finds a home for Mizuki. And Yaroba goes back to the floor. 10 seconds left in this opening round.
So Mizuki, it looks like her left eye is significantly swollen up from some of those strikes, TJ. She has been hit quite a few times from that ground and pound, but I didn't see anything that was that big, but she's definitely all swollen up there.
She's good to go for round number 2. I'm sure that's going to be a target of Virna Jandiroba moving forward in this fight. Mizuki has really gone through some adversity away from the cage, having injured both knees, having to rehab them, and it's very difficult to deal with one bad knee, but to deal with two. It's been a long road back to the cage tonight, but again, the biggest opportunity of her mixed martial arts career ahead of her, Virna Jandiroba trying to take it away from her.
And, you know, just looking at the physique of Mizuki, I mean, whoa, nice right hand there from the Japanese fighter. She's really, nice left kick. She's really, I guess her shoulders seem broader to me. She seems stronger in her stance as well. You know, she's always been very fast, but this time, look at, she's really plowing down on Jandiroba, really trying to get her a statement with those hands.
You see the urgency picked up here from Mizuki. A little bit more frantic on her feet than she was in the first round. Nice combination. But Jandiroba still pressing forward now again on a takedown as a Brazilian.
And those initiating exchanges, those initiating attacks are super important, I think, for Mizuki, especially if she's going to be taken down like this. Again, in this round, she really needs to put some, I guess, money in the bank, so to speak, in terms of racking up points with exchanges on her feet.
Jandiroba looks like she could potentially get cleared aside. She has cleared the legs. Not exactly the position you want that fence to be when you're in that side, but we'll see if she can maintain the position, maybe make some space to advance. Knee on belly goes Jandiroba. She loses the position.
Yeah, Mizuki, even when she seems like she's flat, she's always in motion. You can see she's actually kind of basing on the edge of her foot on the ground, looking for a way to climb that around and move laterally to always stay in motion. She's like wrapping up the arms with her feet. She's finding a way to insert her left knee so that she's never completely flattened by the Brazilian opponent. That's very smart. She's almost looking for a backdoor escape here so that she can wrap up over the top. Creating space in order to crunch the space is what Mizuki does very well on the ground.
Mizuki able to get back to a guard, but not able to wrap it up. Now she does. A little bit under 2.5 minutes remain here in round number 2. See the pressure here from Jandiroba, never really resting on her knees, always trying to at least be on her toes, putting more pressure down on Mizuki. Mizuki now trying to maybe pivot off the cage, try to create a scramble or go for an armbar, but unable to really get that position going.
And the way Jandiroba has her pinned, you know, Mizuki likes that, again, spinning motion. She's really trying to get away from that. The way Jandiroba has her pinned, it was a good position to really launch some ground and pound. But also, if Mizuki trained cage get-ups right there, she would have had a nice opportunity. I don't know if I'd stand him up that early, honestly. I mean, they did spin around, but they are still in a guard, but there's some activity happening there.
Also, too, I mean, this is a 5-round fight. These athletes should be afforded the opportunity to work on the floor and enjoy the positions that they're able to gain, but now back on the feet in the clinch. Mizuki pushing Jandiroba up against the fence.
You can see she attempted that trip. Oh, nice single leg. Oh, a little bit of a sprawl out and a scramble there. Nicely done by Jandiroba, but you can see that Mizuki wants top position on the ground. You know, she doesn't want to be on her back. She's never content to be stuck one place.
We're seeing that wrestling offense here on display of Virna Jandiroba. She was able to get Amy Montenegro down to the floor in her debut. It was after hurting Montenegro to the body, but now we see Jandiroba really out-wrestling Mizuki, who's no slouch in the wrestling department.
Yeah, trying for that knee pass on Mizuki's right side, crawling up the body, really pressuring. And Mizuki's creating a nice frame for that, so her neck can't get trapped. You know, so she can never be pinned completely down. Loses the frame. Jandiroba's in a nice tight position there because Mizuki's looking for a way to strike her way, to shift the hips, to either regard or get that sweep now.
Half guard enjoyed here by Virna Jandiroba. Looked like she was trying to step over, maybe get into mount, but she's content to stay here. More pressure, more strikes from top position by Virna Jandiroba. Short little elbow finds a home. And that's on the swollen eye side of Mizuki.
You see Mizuki again employing that knee shield. Jandiroba trying to cartwheel over it. Position where she's been spending most of this fight.
Round 3 underway. Mizuki, Virna Jandiroba, the winner of this contest, the new Invicta FC strawweight champion. Jandiroba goes for a overhand right that just misses.
Yeah, and again, getting Mizuki, if she initiates those exchanges, then steps out at an angle so she's not easy to track. That's where she's going to do the best in this fight, I think.
Nice right hand there by Mizuki, finds a home. The Octagon returns to Barclays Center for a can't-miss pay-per-view event. The lightweight championship matchup pits two of the best fighters in the world as Tony Ferguson defends his interim crown against Khabib Nurmagomedov. Plus, Rose Namajunas defends her strawweight champion against the woman she won it from when she faces Joanna Jędrzejczyk. It is UFC 223, April 7th, only on pay-per-view.
And we're seeing some very nice control there, head control in the cage there, and Mizuki did a very nice upward elbow right there. You know, that startled, I think, Jandiroba a little bit. She does have a tendency to look over at her corner for advice. Shows a very nice trust with them, but in doing so, sometimes she does give up a little bit of the technique. And you say Mizuki just got right in her face like that, exactly what she needs to do. Keep the Brazilian on her heels, keep her moving backwards, and not let her get to a position where she can counter with strength or a takedown.
Might be a bit similar to the Grasso fight that saw Mizuki not really get her game going in the first 2 rounds to come back and really take the third, but now Virna Jandiroba is changing the momentum of this third period.
Yeah, no, we saw, like, you know, she attempted that reap with Mizuki. Mizuki was able to counter it, but then just kind of get dragged to the ground. Again, there's a lot of physicality going on here.
Jandiroba standing. We'll see if she tries to clear the legs once again. Mizuki putting her feet on the hips, trying to make some space, maybe trying to get back to her feet here and force that issue, but Jandiroba passes now inside. Pressure on display here, Virna Jandiroba. When she's inside, she's still driving down into the body, controlling Mizuki. This isn't fun for the Japanese fighter, I think, by any means, to be underneath Virna Jandiroba.
No, not at all. And when Jandiroba kind of settles and she puts pressure, shoulder pressure, it's got to, you know, make the blood kind of slow up to that eye and pop a little bit there. Put some pressure on her. You can see Jandiroba's worked to her back now. She's got double underhooks with her arms, and she's working to get her hooks in. Mizuki is fighting to keep hooks totally in there. Like kind of giving herself, she's flattened out now. Jandiroba's got those hooks in, and Mizuki's, it looks like, she's not quite being choked, but she's definitely in a bad spot right there.
Jandiroba now switching from the choke attack to maybe some ground and pound, back on the choke. Right elbows find a home for Jandiroba. Mizuki definitely needs to move. She can't cover up and stay here. She's going to get beaten up.
You can see her hips are always moving. She still is always moving her feet, but being in the mount is not a better spot for her than being on the back. In fact, the back presents more opportunities for her to actually grab the arms and move, and she's getting kind of cracked here, TJ.
And Mizuki wilting a little bit. She's still covering up, still intelligently defending herself, trying to get Jandiroba maybe a little bit high, maybe fall off so she can go out the back door, but Jandiroba making the proper adjustments, posturing up, quick little elbow again, now trying to dig for the neck.
Yeah, and if you watch what Mizuki was doing earlier, she's trying to peel the legs with her own legs. She's flattening out a hip. She's trying to use her legs to scoop out a foot. Unfortunately, she's eating a lot of shots on the way. Staying guarded like that, being hit, it's very hard to launch that kind of foot sweep motion where you can clear a leg, especially when it's figure forward like that. It's hard to do.
Mizuki trying to move. You mentioned that body triangle there on display for Verna Jandiroba. Very stifling. Compresses the diaphragm, disrupts the breathing. It's not comfortable. You're controlled. Mizuki trying to do anything she can to get free.
She was actually wrapped over the side of the foot, and I think she was in a position to actually put pressure on the ankle there and possibly get, a way for Jandiroba to let go. But Jandiroba's transitioning to that armbar right now on Mizuki. Mizuki's hands are not, well, now they're clenched. They weren't in a second, but she rolls up on top. Good read by Mizuki there.
Jandiroba sticking with it, making the proper adjustments to maintain the position, trying to isolate that left arm of Mizuki. Final 10 seconds of this third round. It looks like Mizuki's going to be able to survive, but another dominant round for the Brazilian, Verna Jandiroba.
Yeah, Mizuki definitely ate some shots there on the bottom and really was in trouble when Jandiroba was on her back. Maybe not being choked, but the fight being stopped by the amount of punches she was eating there.
Touching gloves underway, championship rounds here. Round number 4, Mizuki, Verna Jandiroba, strawweight title on the line. Nice left hand, finds a home for Mizuki. Jandiroba shrugs it off.
Really, Mizuki is so lightning fast, but I can understand not wanting to throw too many punches from one position there and put herself at risk for a double leg or the way Jandiroba is. But really, when she hits with those, if she could do 2 right hands in a row, I think that would really help out her game and kind of her dominance on her feet, or show her dominance on her feet here.
Mizuki starting to land some strikes here. She's getting Jandiroba to respect her movements, respect her striking game, and it's important to gain some of that respect back because Mizuki has pressed forward in this fight but has ultimately been taken down and stifled. But Jandiroba able to come forward again with some more strikes. We'll see who can steal the momentum here in this 4th round. Mizuki comboing up her strikes. Jandiroba in on a nice takedown. She secures it. Mizuki trying to initiate a scramble back to her feet. Oh, beautiful nice sweep here by Mizuki, but unable to secure it.
You can see Jandiroba was putting all her weight, kind of pressing that arm down, trying to prevent the sweep from happening. Mizuki's getting her legs hooked in. She's, again, creating a knee shield with her left leg so that she can start to move and get a grip and move around Jandiroba. But Jandiroba uses her head. She uses her pressure. She's just staying very strong on the top, very controlling on the top.
Not as much output from the top position by Jandiroba in this round compared to the previous rounds, but she is definitely in control. Again, we are on Twitter tonight at TJ DeSantis, at JulesK_fighter, at Invicta Fights. We'd love hearing what you have to say. Use the hashtag InvictaFC28.
Yeah, and if you look at the way Jandiroba is stretching out that bottom leg, or was stretching out that bottom leg of Mizuki, that's how she was able to kind of nullify what the Japanese fighter was doing on the ground. Hopping around like that, she was almost in a really good position to deliver some strikes, but Mizuki is very hard to pin down. And she's already staying sticky, moving on her, not letting her actually get to that much of a dominant position like she was in the 3rd round.
We've seen a lot of technical scrambles between these two ladies. There is a bit of chaos in positioning, but both ladies doing what they want to do, with Jandiroba getting the better of the positioning and maintaining control. But there's little things you pick up on in what they're doing to utilize the position, and Jandiroba is doing just a little bit more to keep the position. But you can't stop the referee, who is not going to allow her to keep this position. Doesn't want them to have any
position. I don't know. There's something very beautiful about the way Mizuki is nullifying complete dominant position right there. Nice. Big right hand. Jandiroba ties up with her, and Mizuki delivers a nice little shot on the inside.
Mizuki landing some uppercuts here against the fence. 90 seconds remain in the 4th round.
That was a nice knee to the liver side of Jandiroba. I don't know if she felt it or not, but she's definitely gripping pretty hard. You can see kind of her veins are bulging, trying to get to a better position there now. Mizuki's using her head the way she does to really drive on that attempt to strike.
Still very game as Mizuki. That evident here in this round on her feet. Jandiroba shoots in the first time this takedown has really been sprawled out on by Mizuki. Now back up on the feet, clinch against the fence. A standing elbow by Mizuki. Jandiroba able to get back to space, but Mizuki with a beautiful takedown.
Beautiful takedown. You can see immediately Jandiroba goes to take the back there. And it's where Mizuki's hips are is going to determine what happens here, because she's wrapped around the head of Jandiroba, which, you know, does put her in a position to be in trouble. Whizzer attempt, but then Jandiroba just pushes down, you know, grabs at the waist and just drives to the mat. And I love what Mizuki does with her legs and her hooks, though. You know, when Jandiroba is going to move, she's either in a butterfly hook, she's wrapped around, locking down, or she's lifting up her knee and keeping space between the two of them with connection. But Jandiroba just rides that all the way out. On top again, delivering strikes.
Four rounds in the books between Virna Jandiroba and Mizuki. And 5th and final round, Virna Jandiroba, Mizuki, strawweight title on the line. We'll see if Mizuki has something that she can pull out here in this 5th and final round.
And Jandiroba's corner has been very vocal this fight, making, you know, and in her corner they were very excited, I think, begging for her to finish, or, you know, asking for her to finish. Mizuki is driving forward, like, both are very determined, I guess, to pick up the pace now and get a finish here.
Back in the clinch, some uppercuts by Mizuki. Jandiroba pressing forward. Puts Mizuki back into the fence once again. Jandiroba keeping the pressure on Mizuki. Saving off the takedown. And the pressure has just been relentless all night long from Virna Jandiroba. Now she's back in on that single leg.
Yeah, you can see Mizuki's trying to block that out across her thigh and peel the arms off, or peel the hands off from Jandiroba. Jandiroba wisely pulls her away from the cage, so she doesn't have a base for that. So she's hopping on one foot. Mizuki pulls herself back. You know, it's a conversation happening right there with her movement, TJ.
Takedown by Jandiroba. UFC Fight Pass is your home for live events, original programming, and the world's largest MMA library. Anytime, anywhere, it is your pass to the Ultimate Fighting Championship. Jandiroba trying to step over the legs once again, get into a mounted position on Mizuki.
Yeah, and she's actually almost quite there, TJ. It's the way she's wrapped up on the cage actually allows for Mizuki to still defend that, to still insert a knee. She's very wily. She must have just tremendously strong hip flexors, Mizuki, because she's able to always get her leg up there, always able to get that interruption.
Again, the elbow coming from her back. Mizuki landing some hammer fists as well. Two nice elbows to the right side of Jandiroba's face. Trying to maintain the guard position, though, is Mizuki.
You can see she's over the head of Jandiroba, trying to pull up and possibly get to a triangle position to work from. Jandiroba, again, staying buried, staying tight, just really likes moving from top position, really likes, you know, very patient fighter.
You can afford to be patient over five-minute rounds, but unfortunately for Mizuki, time is definitely running out. Touch over 2 minutes remain in this championship contest. Over the side now is Jandiroba.
Well done there with Jandiroba, with stepping through over across the head there.
Mizuki turning away from Jandiroba, not giving up her back per se, but she needs to go for broke here to try to and do some sort of scramble, maybe get a submission out of that or get back to her feet where she can land a big strike. She needs to do something here, but Jandiroba not letting her do anything.
Yeah, it's a finish. Yeah, Mizuki needs a finish right here for sure to really cement that. And you can tell she's really digging for platforms that she can launch a finish from. But Jandiroba is just relentlessly strong and moving on her. Both of them trying for some ground and pound here.
Close guard here for Mizuki. Defending the punches of Jandiroba, landing some strikes of her own off of her back. Jandiroba stacking. Mizuki trying to seize the opportunity and go for an arm.
You see she's got the arm a little bit, but Jandiroba is basing out and really keeping a nice position, rolling back.
Oh, never say never. Mizuki might be in business here, working that left arm of Jandiroba. The Brazilian able to clear the arm, though. 45 seconds left.
You see Mizuki's grabbing onto that leg, getting that top position from there and really looking for a way to find one final finish exchange in the last 30 seconds of this fight.
Jandiroba trying to get position back. 20 seconds left in this fight. The Brazilian back on top. Mizuki trying to force the issue. 10 seconds remain. Verna Jandiroba, moments away from being the 5th ever strawweight champion of Invicta Fighting Championships. Mizuki would not go away quietly, but tonight, it appears, belongs to Verna Jandiroba.
Ladies and gentlemen, having gone 5 championship rounds, we go to the scorecards. Here are your score totals. Judge at cage side, Rich Montanez, scores the contest 49-46 for Jandiroba. Judge Rochelle Montanez scores the contest 49-46 for Mizuki. And Judge Dan Verse has the contest 49-46 for your winner by split decision. And now the Invicta FC strawweight champion of the world, Verna Jandiroba.